Okay, picture this. You're out camping miles from any city lights, and you glance up at the sky. But instead of the usual sprinkling of stars, you're met with a cascade of light meteors blazing through the atmosphere, like a celestial fireworks display. That's the kind of experience we're diving into today. Those rare, unforgettable cosmic events that remind us of the universe's breathtaking scale and power. Welcome to Cosmos in a Pod, the space and astronomy series. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, it's true. There's something about these events that captures the imagination unlike anything else. It's not just about the science, it's about experiencing a connection to something far greater than ourselves.
All right, so let's talk about this meteor storm you've got me dreaming of. I'm assuming this isn't your average shooting star situation.
Definitely not. We're talking about the Leonid Meteor Storm, which happens when Earth passes through the debris field left behind by Comet Tempel-Tuttle. And when we say storm, we mean it. Imagine thousands of meteors per hour, some even bright enough to cast shadows.
Thousands per hour. That's almost hard to fathom. Are there any historical accounts of these kinds of showers?
Oh, absolutely. There's a reason the Leonids are so famous. Back in 1833 over North America, there were reports of over 100,000 meteors per hour. It was like a rain of fire in the sky. And again in 1966, they put on a show over the southwestern U.S. with a staggering 144,000 meteors per hour.
Wow, so it's not just a myth. They really can get that intense. When's the next one of these megastorms predicted?
Mark your calendars for sometime between 2032 and 2033. The exact timing is still being refined, but it's definitely an event you'll want to plan for. Imagine a sky so filled with meteors, it's like the stars themselves are falling.
Okay, you've officially got me hooked. That's definitely going on the calendar. But let's shift gears for a second and talk about another celestial event that's supposed to be pretty spectacular, the darkest lunar eclipse of the century.
That's right. On June 25th, 2029, we'll be treated to a total lunar eclipse. That's unique in a couple of ways. First, the moon will be passing almost directly through the center of Earth's shadow. This means it's going to get incredibly dark, much darker than your typical lunar eclipse. And second, it's going to last a long time, an hour and 42 minutes of totality.
Okay, but help me understand. What makes this eclipse so much darker than others?
It all comes down to the geometry of the Earth, moon, and sun, and how perfectly they're aligned during the eclipse. Scientists use something called the umbral magnitude to describe how deeply the moon is immersed in Earth's shadow. The higher the number, the darker the eclipse. And this one is predicted to have an umbral magnitude of 1.843, making it the darkest of the century.
So picture a moon that's usually pearly white, bathed in this deep, almost blood-red color.
You said it's visible from quite a few places too, right? Absolutely. The Americas, Western Europe, Africa, they'll all have a great view. And with the partial eclipse lasting almost 4 hours, you'll have plenty of time to soak it in. Imagine yourself outside, maybe with some friends or family, watching as the moon slowly transforms.
Now that we've covered meteors and a super dark moon, how about something a little more, rocky? I hear there's an asteroid making a close approach in the not-so-distant future.
Ah, yes. Asteroid Apophis. Now, this is one that caused a bit of a stir when it was first discovered back in 2004. Imagine the headlines: 20 million ton asteroid on possible collision course with Earth.
Okay, that does sound a little alarming. What's the story there?
Well, initial calculations showed a small, but real chance of Apophis impacting Earth in 2029. However, as scientists gathered more data and refined their calculations, they were able to rule out a collision. Phew, right?
Definitely a relief. But it sounds like it's still got to get pretty close.
Oh, incredibly close. On April 13th, 2029, Apophis will come within just 20,000 miles of Earth. That's closer than some satellites. And here's the exciting part. It's going to be visible to the naked eye. You'll literally be able to look up and see a 20 million ton space rock sailing past.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing. And what about the scientific community? Are they doing anything to prepare for this close encounter?
Actually, yes. NASA is sending a mission called OSIRIS-APEX to study Apophis up close during its flyby. They'll be able to take detailed measurements, analyze its composition, and hopefully learn a lot more about these fascinating objects. It's a rare opportunity to study an asteroid of this size in such detail. Imagine the data they'll be able to gather.
All right, so we've got a chance to see a potentially planet-destroying asteroid up close. Without, the planet-destroying part, what's not to love?
Exactly. It's a reminder that the universe is full of surprises. And sometimes those surprises can be both awe-inspiring and scientifically valuable.
Speaking of awe-inspiring, let's talk eclipses again, but this time, let's flip the script and talk about the sun disappearing instead of the moon.
You're talking about a total solar eclipse, of course. And we've got a particularly special one coming up on August 2nd, 2027. This one is going to be the longest total solar eclipse visible from land in this entire century.
Longer than any other eclipse in the next 100 years. No, that's saying something. How long are we talking?
Get ready for this: 6 minutes and 22 seconds of totality. And to make things even more dramatic, it's happening during a super new moon.
A super new moon. What does that mean for the eclipse?
A super new moon happens when the new moon phase coincides with the moon's closest approach to Earth. So the moon will appear slightly larger in the sky, making its coverage of the sun even more dramatic during the eclipse. It's like a cosmic bonus feature.
Okay, I'm definitely picturing this now. The sun completely blocked out by this larger-than-life moon. Where will this eclipse be visible?
The path of totality will sweep across parts of the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. And for those who can't travel to see the total eclipse, a partial eclipse will be visible across a much wider region.
So for anyone who missed the 2009 eclipse because of its remote location, this 2027 event offers a much more accessible opportunity to witness this phenomenon right.
Exactly. And with a duration like that, it's a chance you won't want to miss. Just imagine, standing in the shadow of the moon, feeling the temperature drop, watching the world around you transform as day turns to twilight. It's an experience that stays with you.
Now, not all of the cosmic events we're talking about are purely about awe and wonder. Some are a bit more bittersweet, like the planned deorbit of the International Space Station.
You're right, it's the end of an era. The ISS has been a beacon of international collaboration and scientific discovery for decades. But like all things, it eventually reaches the end of its lifespan.
So what's the plan for the ISS's final act?
SpaceX will be guiding the station back into Earth's atmosphere sometime in the early 2030s. And during re-entry, it will essentially burn up.
Burn up. That seems a bit, dramatic, doesn't it?
It will be a fiery farewell for sure. Some have called it the most expensive artificial fireball ever. But it's also testament to the ingenuity of human engineering. Imagine this massive structure, a symbol of our reach for the stars, streaking across the sky engulfed in flames. It's both a poignant end and a powerful reminder of our journey in space exploration.
It does make you think about the fleeting nature of things, even in space. But before we get too philosophical, let's talk about another celestial dance, this time starring the planet Mercury.
You're talking about the transit of Mercury across the sun. It's a relatively rare event, where tiny Mercury passes directly between the Earth and the sun. You can actually see it as a small black dot moving across the sun's disk.
Now, when you say tiny, just how small are we talking?
Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system, and during the transit, it looks like a tiny speck against the vastness of the sun. It really puts things in perspective. And speaking of perspective, we have 2 of these transits to look forward to in the coming years, one on November 13th, 2032, and another on November 7th, 2039.
So if we want to witness this tiny planet making its solar crossing, what should we keep in mind?
Well, each transit lasts about 3 to 4 hours, so you'll have ample time to observe it. But, and this is crucial, never look directly at the sun without proper eye protection. You'll need special solar filters to view this event safely.
A good reminder for any kind of solar observation, really. But beyond the safety precautions, what makes these transits so special?
They offer a unique perspective on the scale of our solar system. When you see that tiny dot of Mercury against the backdrop of the sun, it really drives home the vastness of space and our place within it. It's a humbling experience, to say the least.
Okay, one more eclipse to round things out, right? Another total solar eclipse happening in 2026.
You got it. August 12th, 2026, to be precise. And this one also features a super new moon, meaning the moon will appear slightly larger in the sky, adding to the drama of the event.
So another chance to see the moon at its most imposing, blocking out the sun entirely. Where's the best place to catch this one?
The path of totality for this eclipse will pass over Greenland, Iceland, and parts of Spain and Portugal. But don't worry if you can't make it to those locations. A partial eclipse will be visible across a much broader region, including Europe, Africa, and North America.
So for many folks in continental Europe, this will be the first total solar eclipse they've seen since 1999. That's going to be pretty exciting for them.
It's going to be a major event for sky watchers in that region. It's not every day you get to see the daytime sky turn to twilight, as the moon completely covers the sun.
And to wrap things up, let's talk about the grand finale. A planetary alignment of epic proportions.
This is the one I'm personally looking forward to. On September 8th, 2040, we'll have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and a crescent moon all aligned in the evening sky. It's going to be a breathtaking sight.
Wow, all those celestial objects lined up like that. Is this a common occurrence?
Not at all. This particular alignment is incredibly rare. We're talking once in a lifetime rare. It won't happen again until 2080.
So if you want to see the planets put on a show, 2040 is the year to do it. That seems like the perfect ending to our cosmic tour.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, with all these incredible events coming up, how can we make sure we don't miss out?
Well, the first step is simply being aware, which you are now. But it's also about planning. Mark those calendars, set reminders, and don't rely on your memory. These celestial events don't wait for anyone.
You know, as we've been talking about these cosmic events, I've been thinking about how they make me feel. It's not just excitement. It's almost a sense of awe, like I'm glimpsing something truly profound. You ever feel that?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that draws so many people to astronomy. It's not just about the science. It's about connecting with something much larger than ourselves. It's about touching the infinite.
It's funny, we talk about these events like they're happening in the future. But in a way, they've already happened. We're just catching up to them, right? The light from those distant stars, the path of that comet. It's all been set in motion long before we were here to witness it.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It really challenges our perception of time, doesn't it? We humans tend to think in terms of years and decades, but the universe operates on a time scale that's almost incomprehensible to us.
It makes me feel small, but in a good way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like my problems, my worries, they just fade away when I think about the vastness of it all.
I know exactly what you mean. It's a reminder that our perspective is limited, that there's so much more to existence than what we experience in our daily lives. And yet here we are on this tiny planet, able to comprehend these grand cosmic events, to unravel their mysteries, and to find meaning in their beauty.
It's almost like a privilege, isn't it? To be alive at a time when we can not only witness these events, but also understand them. We're not just passive observers. We're active participants in the unfolding story of the universe.
I think that's a crucial point. The more we learn about the cosmos, the more we realize how interconnected we are with it. The atoms in our bodies were forged in the hearts of stars. The water we drink was delivered to Earth by comets. The very air we breathe is a product of cosmic processes that have been happening for billions of years.
It makes you appreciate everything a little bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The sun, the moon, the stars, they're not just distant objects. They're part of our story.
And our story is part of theirs. It's a two-way street. By studying the universe, we learn about ourselves. And by living our lives, by exploring, by creating, by simply being, we contribute to the ongoing evolution of the cosmos.
So as we wrap up this cosmic journey, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. The universe is full of wonder and beauty, both great and small. Take the time to appreciate it. Look up at the stars, learn their names, explore the planets with your mind, and let yourself be awestruck by the sheer scale and majesty of it all.
And never stop asking questions. Why are we here? Are we alone? What secrets does the universe hold? The pursuit of knowledge is what drives us forward, and the universe is the ultimate frontier.
Beautifully said. So keep looking up, keep exploring, and never lose your sense of wonder. And that's it for this episode of Cosmos in a Pod. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to Cosmos in a Pod and our YouTube channel. Until next time, keep exploring the universe and all its wonders.